for the training, advances in fodder, production utilization and conservation for improving livestock health, production and environmental sustainability, is jointly organized by ICAR, IGFRI, RRS Srinagar and NADCL Baramulla. Today with us, we have Galaxy of Learned Personals, and it is my pleasure and honor to welcome you all at this inaugural ceremony of 21 Days NTP 2020. Today, we have with us on virtual platform, gracious presence of Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Nazir Ahmed, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sher-e Kashmir University of Agriculture and Science and Technology, Kashmir, Professor Dr. Deshbir Singh, Director, ICAR, Central Institute of Temperate Horticulture, Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir, Professor Dr. Bakshi Ram, Director, ICAR, Sugarcane Breeding Institute, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, Professor Dr. Vijay Kumar Yadav, Honorable Director, ICAR, Indian Grassland and Fodder Research Institute, Jhansi, Course Director and Senior Scientist and Officer in Charge, Dr. Sushil Ahmed, ICAR, IGFRI, Regional Research Station, Srinagar, Dr. Malik Mohammed, Pest Management Specialist, Plant Protection Directorate, Sudan. He is with us. And Dr. Sanjay Kumar Patil, Honorable Vice Chancellor, IGKV, Raipur, Chhattisgarh, was supposed to join, but due to some unavoidable circumstances, he is not available with us. So I welcome you all, and I once again welcome you all and thank you all from my bottom of heart for taking out the precious time for the inaugural session. Sir, I would like to tell you all about the training program. Sir, this is our third 21 days training program. The first one was conducted in 2017 and it was in a physical mode. And this is our second virtual training program. The first training program was organized, which was scheduled from 26 May to 15 June 2020 on preparing and management of result-oriented research projects in agriculture, horticulture, and allied sector, in which we have 400 participants from all over the country, and almost all the traditional universities and agriculture universities candidates have attended the training program. It was highly successful training. As for 21 days training, we had resource persons from all the faculties. To quote some from NAM, Dr. Senthil, from NDRI, Dr. Mahendra Singh, Dr. MP Thakur, Director Instructions, Indira Gandhi Krishi Vishwavidyalaya, Raipur, Dr. Bipul Das, Dean Fisheries, University of Animal and Fisheries Science, Kolkata, West Bengal, Dr. Javed Mir, ICAR, Central Institute of Temperate Horticulture, Srinagar, Dr. Pankaj Sharma, Principal Scientist and In Charge, PME, Directorate of Rapeseed and Mustard Research, Bharatpur, Dr. C.S. Praharaj, Principal Scientist, Indian Institute of Pulse Research, Kanpur, Dr. Shiraj Salam Bhatt, and Dr. Sushil Ahmed, ICAR, IGFRI, RASS, Srinagar. As we were having the participants from Krishi Vigyan Kendra, we had a speakers from KVK also, Dr. Nawab Singh, Senior Scientist and Head KVK Dholpur. Topic of training program was research projects formulation, and we also invited speakers from Indian-based international companies, Dr. P.B. Bangikar, Director and CEO of Pardo Private Limited, Pune, and Dr. Girdhar Patankar, CEO of Just Bespoke Limited, Pune, to throw light on how funds can be attracted to our institute. Speakers from sociology and psychological area was also there. Dr. Smita Chaure, leading psychiatrist from Pune, and Sri Sushil Dhanode, hypnotherapist and life coach from Rahuri, focused on the stress management in project handling. Dr. Vivian Thomas, Rahuri English professor, delivered a lecture on importance of communication in project handling. Of course, our team, Dr. Manjunath, Dr. Dinesh Lokhande, Dr. Girish Yadav from Mumbai Veterinary University, and myself also delivered the talk. In all, 44 lectures were delivered. Dr. N.S. Rathore, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Maharana Pratap University of Agriculture and Technology, Udaipur, delivered on mechanization in agriculture, its importance in crop production and labor efficiency. Though he could not be connected in the morning session, but in valedictory function, he had thrown light on this topic and all the participants were benefited. As we were progressing towards our training program, we were receiving huge requests from the participants to accommodate them. But it was not possible for us because of our agency has framed the rules, and in that rules we were binded. And we told our respected participants that we will come out with the next training program and we will accommodate in the next program. So our teamwork is very strong and dynamic. We are sitting in 4 corners of the country, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Kashmir, Karnataka, but all are connected through technology. And last but not the least, our technical and control room is at Srinagar, and with their help, we are connected all over the country and abroad. Also, Mr. Majid and his better half, Jannat Madam, has played a great role in making the training program successful. And now it is all about the last event. And now this jointly venture with ICAR, IGFR, and NADCL will be also of a great successful as in the future. In this training program, 300 candidates have registered. They are from assistant professor to principal scientist from most of the state agriculture university of the country. We have participants from abroad also, from Nigerian country. Many participants of last training programs are also with us in this training program. As Indian Grassland Fodder Research Institute is a leading premier institute of forage production with its main headquarters at Jhansi, I will not speak much about it because Director Sir is here to throw light on its achievements and outcomes. Now, not taking much of time, I will call upon Dr. Sushil Ahmed Sir, Senior Scientist and Head, ICAR, Indian Grassland and Fodder Research Institute, Regional Research Station, Srinagar, and Course Director of NTP 2020 for the introductory address for the participants. Sir, please.
Please unmute, sir. Sohail sir, please unmute. You are muted.
Thank you, Ratna Nashin ma'am. At the very outset, I would like to express my immense gratitude to the chief guest of today's inaugural ceremony, Professor Dr. Nazir Ahmed sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, SCOST Kashmir, Dr. Vijay Kumar Yadav, Director, ICAR, Indian Grassland and Fodder Research Institute, Jhansi, Dr. Professor Bakshi Ram sir, Director, Sugarcane Breeding Institute, Professor Dr. Deshbir Singh, Director, ICAR, Central Institute of Temperate Horticulture, Dr. Malik Muhammad, Pest Management Specialist, Plant Protection Directorate, Gezira, Sudan. Let me delve on the important aspects of various this forage production, conservation, and utilization. This training program has been devised keeping in view the importance of ensuring fodder self-sufficiency, that is fodder security in our country. We know that we have a deficit. There is a widening gap between demand and supply of fodder. And India, with 2.29% of land area, harbors about 10.7% of livestock of the world. But the main problem is with productivity. The productivity of livestock is below average, it's very low. And the main factor responsible, I mean, it's ranging from 26 to 51% to that of developed nations and the world average. And the factors which are responsible for low productivity of livestock are number one, fodder deficiency, unavailability or non-availability of quality nutritious fodder. And this factor accounts for about 50 to 60% to the low productivity of livestock. Then other factors like breed improvement, diseases or management aspects, they account for 21, 8 and 10.5% respectively. So this is the importance of fodder and the importance of conducting this national training program. Then we know that in the coming days, we will be having lectures related to various aspects of forage production, conservation, and utilization. We know that there are specific areas like how there are cultivated fodders, there is fodder production from non-arable and arable lands, we have grasslands, we have forest plantations, wastelands. Then we have in cultivated fodders, we have annual fodders like berseem, lucerne, oats. Then in range grasses and legumes, we have Bajra Napier hybrid, we have Dactylis glomerata, phalaris, and Guinea grass, and other various legumes. So in this training program, we will be focusing on some of the important forage crops, as I already mentioned, lucerne, sainfoin, this various temperate grasses and legumes, as well as tropical grasses and legumes. Then there is a lecture of Dr. Malik Muhammad from Sudan. He will be delving on one of the very important forage crops, that is Clitoria ternatia. Then we'll be starting with our lectures, what ICR, IGFRI role is vis-a-vis forage production, utilization and conservation, its mandate, its thrust areas, and its various research programs. Then what is the status of fodder crop research in India? That will be given by Dr. A.K. Roy, a well-known forage specialist from IGFRI. He is presently project coordinator, All India Coordinated Research Project on Forage Crops. Then we will touch some aspects of genetic improvement and breeding strategies in forage crops. Then conservation and utilization aspects like hay making, how quality hay can be prepared, how these crop residues can be fortified through biofortification or other technologies like urea treatment and treatment of molasses. Then seed production aspects, which is a very important area of forage production, that less emphasis has been given on seed production. So we have lectures pertaining to seed production technologies, participatory seed production. Then of course, we have limited resources so far as fodders are concerned. So we'll be having lectures on non-conventional fodder resources like azolla cultivation, azolla as animal feed, or mulberry as feed, and then hydroponic cultivation, which has not really picked up in our country. So there will be lectures on that aspects also. Then, of course, one area which has remained neglected, that there has not been any assessment or inventorization of forage resources in our country. So that lecture we have kept deliberately regarding use of geospatial technologies, that is GIS and remote sensing in assessing forage resources. That will be delivered by one of our scientists from SCOST Kashmir, Dr. Akhlaq Wani. Then what are the environmental concerns we have in today's world? We know that the greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide and methane, they come from livestock sector, and it has from 280 ppm from pre-industrial area to 420 ppm as of now. The concentration has increased tremendously, which has brought us, there is climate change issues are there. So we have lectures with respect to that also, like what is the use of or effect of these forage crops vis-a-vis soil and above ground carbon sequestration. Then what can be the role of various forage crops, especially top feeds, vis-a-vis rumen modulation, because we know that methane emission comes from livestock. So there are some forage plant metabolites which can be used for modulating the rumen environment so that the methane emission gets lessened by 20 to 25%. So that can be a very good contribution. Then we have lectures for technologies for non-arable as well as arable lands, then plant protection aspects, organic forage and livestock production. Then importantly, the socio-economic dimensions of livestock, socio-economic dimensions of forage production. Then last, when we were presenting fodder plan for Jammu and Kashmir state, our today's chief guest, he was also chief guest in that workshop also, Professor Nazir Sahab. He had specifically mentioned forage production from fruit orchards. But there were he raised some concerns that it should not hinder with the main crop, it should not affect the main crop also. So we have a lecture on that also. He is from SCOST only, Dr. Abdul Rauf, a young scientist there. He will be focusing on what is the use of these forage crops, perennial grasses and legumes, vis-a-vis orchard floor management and forage resource augmentation. There are pathological and entomological concerns, we know that, but how to, that's a management issue, how to deal with that. So we have lectures pertaining to that also. So lastly, I hope this training program will be a great help to the participants, and my request to all the participants will be to be attentive in the coming days and get enriched by the galaxy of resource persons we have from across the country. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your words of wisdom and briefing about the training program. Thank you very much, sir, once again. Now I invite our guest of honor, Dr. Deshbir Singh, sir, Director, ICAR, Central Institute of Temperate Horticulture, Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir, for his valuable suggestions for this program. I want to give his brief introduction. Presently, he is a Director, ICAR, Central Institute of Temperate Horticulture, Rangarehe, Srinagar. Dr. Deshbir Singh sir is an outstanding scientist of horticulture and post-harvest management. He has been conferred with fellowship of the prestigious Indian Academy of Horticultural Sciences in 2013. He has been instrumental in developing new technologies, vice versa, temperate fruit production. He was chairman of committee formed by Government of India for formulating a roadmap for the coveted endeavor of our Honorable Prime Minister regarding doubling farmers' income by 2022. He has a number of publications in international and national journal. Sir, please welcome. I invite you to deliver your talk. Dr. Deshbir Singh, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Respected Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Nazir Ahmed Saab, Vice Chancellor, SCOST K Kashmir, Professor Dr. Bakshiram, Director, ICAR Sugarcane Breeding Institute, Coimbatore, Professor Dr. Vijay Kumar Yadav, Honorable Director, ICAR, Indian Grassland and Fodder Research Institute, Jhansi, Dr. Ratna Nishin, Professor and Dean, College of Agriculture and Research Station, Narayanpur, Chhattisgarh, Dr. Sushil Ahmed, Senior Scientist, IGFR and in charge Station, Srinagar, Dr. Malik Mohammed, Pest Management Specialist, Plant Protection Directorate, Sudan, Mr. Majid Nisar and his team, who are the coordinators from NADCL. First of all, I compliment and congratulate the coordinators, program director, coordinators for organizing this very, very important training program, that is advances in fodder production, utilization, conservation for improving livestock health, productivity, environmental sustainability. I once again congratulate and compliment the team for organizing this program. While giving my introduction, there is a little correction for that. Committee constituted by government for doubling the farmers' income. I am the convener, and the respected and honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Nazir Ahmed Saab is the chairman for that. As far as this program is concerned, this is very important and very need of the day program organized. As you know, this agroforestry is a collective name for land use system and practices in which woody perennials are deliberately integrated with crops, animals, and allied crops on the same land management. There are different types of agroforestry practices which can be used. These include improved fallow, home gardens, alley cropping, growing multi-purpose trees, shrubs on farmland, boundary planting, farm woodland, orchards, tree gardens, plantation, crop combinations, shelter belts, fodder bank, and live fences, trees on pasture, and apiculture with trees. Different types of agroforestry technologies have been found to address specific human and environmental needs. One of the important benefit is the production of fodder for the to feed the livestock. Farmers have enjoyed increased income from livestock production, increased crop production, and reduced labor, especially for herding cattle from adoption of agroforestry practices. Indian agriculture is facing diverse challenge and constraints due to growing demographic pressure, increasing fodder, feed, pulp, fodder, and timber, nature resources degradation, and climate change. Diversification of land use with agroforestry as a component can address some of these challenges. Agroforestry has traditionally been a way of life and livelihood in India for centuries. For this pasture and fodder management is one of the component, very important component. The country has also been in the forefront since organized agroforestry research started worldwide. India faces a critical imbalance in its natural resource base with about 18% of human and 15% of livestock production of the world, being supported by 2.4% geographical area, 1.5% forest and pasture land, and 4.2% that of water resources. Agriculture sector contributes about 15% of gross domestic product, employs 56% of the total workforce, and supports about 58% of the total population. This sector is very vital not only to provide income support but also to ensure livelihood security for the majority of the people. Agroforestry and its other components has been the potential to provide most or all the ecosystems services we are having. The Millennium Ecosystem Assessment has categorized the ecosystem services into proliferizing service. That is very important for fuel wood. It's very, very important fodder, timber, poles, etc. Regulating service, hydrological benefits, microclimatic modifications, supporting service, nutrient cycle, and others. The current area under agroforestry in India is estimated at 25.32 million hectares, or that of 8.2% of the total geographical area of the country. There is further scope for increasing the area under agroforestry in the future by another means.
अगर हो जाएगा ना आपका तो एक पेन ड्राइव में डाल दीजिएगा तो मैं भेज दूंगी इसको.
As far as composition and dimensions of the crop are concerned, we are having different agri-silviculture, improved fallow species in shifting cultivation, multi-species tree gardens, alley cropping, crop combination with plantation crops. As you know, these perennial trees and shrubs such as coffee, tea, coconut, cocoa, etc. in tropical and island ecosystem are combined into intercropping system in numerous ways, including multi-cropping agroforestry system, agroforestry, shelter belts, windbreaks, soil conservation hedges, and that of silvopasture system. Protein banks are there, many. In this system, silvopasture system by agroforestry, very multi-purpose trees which are protein rich, they can be considered. The detail the different speakers will be giving about these systems. Living fence of fodder trees and hedge trees and shrubs and the pastures, agri-silvopasture system, homestead agroforestry. All these systems are being taken in consideration for taking the agroforestry and this pasture system in consideration. As far as this different systems are considered, there are many advantages by taking these benefits of agroforestry. The agroforestry improves environment, is a good source of fuel wood and energy to rural poor people. Agroforestry provides fodder and feed to the animals, which is very important. Agroforestry enriches soil with organic matter and nutrients. Agroforestry prevents soil erosion, windbreak and shelter belts, provides raw material for small-scale cottage industries, maximize production and higher income, provides employment opportunities. Agroforestry, which pays with the occupation system is concerned, helps in drainage improvements. Ethnic values are there which have been considered. These are many advantages of this agroforestry. As far as temperate area is concerned, and particularly the arid and semi-arid area also in particular consideration, fodder trees are playing an important role in reducing the fodder shortage problem in India. In most parts of our country, after the end of the rainy season, animals suffer badly due to lack of protein-rich diet since availability of fodder becomes very scarce. The situation becomes serious during the dry season under rain-fed conditions when generally no crop can be grown. Alarming shortage of forage in our country can be solved partially by planting fodder trees capable of sustained production of palatable forage high in protein and total digestible nutrients. Through the plantation of these species on degraded lands under silvopasture system and in farmers' field under various agroforestry system, fodder availability can be enhanced. Many plant species are there which have been taken. Oaks, for example, Grevia, Celtris australis in western Himalayas, and ficus species and Bauhinia in eastern Himalayas have been taken, particularly in arid area. The lopping of Prosops cyanearia, that is Khijri, is very, very significant. Furthermore, trees do not need heavy input of the fertilizers, irrigation, labor, these pesticides, etc. are generally needed to grow conventional fodder crops. Trees use and recycle nutrients that are beyond the reach of grasses and other herbaceous plants. When we are taking agroforestry and pasture horti system in particular in consideration, among the fruit tree based agroforestry system, the horticulture system, which includes horticulture, pasture, legumes, fodder and animals also, have been recognized as sustainable land use option because of its high productivity and environmental benefits even under fragile ecosystem. Yield and quality of forage in agroforestry system can be improved by introducing shade-tolerant grass and legume species in appropriate mixture. Indian Grassland and Fodder Research Institute, having a station in Srinagar, under the leadership of the scientist and Dr. Suhail and others, they have developed various horticulture fruit-based system where the floor of the tree can be utilized very efficiently for greens and fodder. The management of this system can present a challenge regarding the selection of the proper grass and legume species, as well as maintenance of the optimum balance between the two species in the grass legume stand. The importance of horticulture in improving the productivity of the land, generating employment, improving economic condition of the farmers, entrepreneurship, enhancing export, and above all, providing nutritional security in very, very important. Among the Himalayan states, Jammu and Kashmir has emerged as a leading apple producing state in the country, and during last decade, the area under crop has been increased 16 times, production about 60 times, and productivity about 5 times. A very good this management system have been developed under this temperate area. I would like to mention that their work under this conventional system of apple orchards, dactylis and red clove and white clove, and that of lolium with combination of red clove and white clove, they have given very good green without affecting the apple production, which is the concern where the Dr. Sushil was mentioning that when we are taking this fodder and legumes in between the tree, these fruit trees and other horticulture crop trees, we have to take in consideration that it should not affect the production system and their quality, and it should not introduce, they should not harbor also the pest diseases which will affect the this horticulture productivity. This is very important. We should have a very, very good system which balance between the fodder and this grasses production under horticulture systems. It should be a very beneficial, as well aesthetics are concerned, as well as this benefit in quality and consideration, the land use and the return of the leguminous fodder, nutrients to the soil. All this combination will provide a very good vital ecosystem and production system which can be sustained for a longer time and will be beneficial to the farmers of the temperate area. As far as when I was in that arid area, there this pasture, legume and agroforestry system, where the lopping of this tree plants, area has been taken one to consideration along with other trees. They have developed a system which can be further modified. There are many lectures. I have seen this in the list of the lectures. Many very good lectures are there which will include this convention, non-convention system. Now we are in the advanced states where this fodder and this grasses can be grown in a vertical garden, multi-story system, LI system. We should take this horticulture as a crop when we are using the byproduct of the horticulture as one of the feed to the animals. That part can be also taken into consideration. Waste of the post-harvest, which is otherwise waste, can be utilized into the nutrient combination, having a feed which can be given to the company as a supplement to the this main feed, combining this pasture and this legume and grasses. That can be a very good combination by this coming out product for this to feed the animals, especially in the temperate area where the more than 5 months we are having this fallow land, there snowfall and rainfall is there. We are unable to get the fodder crops. Our this conservation and storage and further utilization of the produce, the system of the post-harvest, that should be taken into consideration. Definitely, horticulture system is one of the component which can be a very beneficial for doubling the farmer income in the coming years to the farmers. With this, all these points, I again compliment and congratulate these coordinators, both the organized IGFRI and NHDCL for this, with the help of all the university coordinators and this other workers. This training program having a very good blend of the lectures which are useful for the day, this coming days for the fodder requirement and production. It will be very beneficial. And once again, good luck to all our coordinators and speakers. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. for sharing your deep knowledge about fodder and horticultural topics with us. Your speech was full of enthusiasm and valuable knowledge. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The next distinguished personality to address is Dr. Bakshi Ram, Director, ICAR Sugarcane Breeding Institute, Coimbatore, India. I invite him to address the participants with his brief introduction. Dr. Bakshi Ram, a distinguished plant breeder with over 30 years of experience in sugarcane research, has assumed office as Director, Sugarcane Breeding Institute, Coimbatore, with effect from 28 October 2014. He has earlier worked as Director, Uttar Pradesh Council of Sugarcane Research, Shahjahanpur. Prior to this, that he was a head regional station Karnal of Sugarcane Breeding Institute. He obtained his master and doctoral degrees from CCS, Haryana Agriculture University. He had developed 12 sugarcane varieties, 1 wheat variety, and 4 genetic stocks of sugarcane. Among these, the cane variety CO98014, CO0118, CO0238 are very popular among the farmers. CO0238 is a commercialized variety and is in particular currently occupies over 2 lakhs hectares in the northern Indian states. He has several national and international publications to his credit. He is the recipient of several awards and recognition like Gold Medal, BSc Honours, Agriculture 1981, Dr. Ramdhan Singh Gold Medal, MSc Agriculture 1983, Eminent Agriculture Scientist Award 2005, Neil Deor Gold Medal Award, New Delhi 2010, Felicitation for Outstanding Contribution in the Field of Sugarcane Breeding, CCHU Alumni Association 2012, Certificate of Appreciation from District Administration Karnal in 2012, and Industry Excellence Award New Delhi 2013. And above, he is also known as Cane Man of India. Sir, I invite you with full respect to address our participants in this training program. Dr. Bakshi Ram, sir, please.
Good afternoon, one and all. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Nadir Ahmed, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Kashmir, Chief Guest of the function, my director colleagues, Dr. Singh and Dr. Yadav, and the organizers. First of all, I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share about sugarcane fodder and sugarcane in today's function. And there is one correction I would like to mention. The area of the variety was told by Madam, that is CO0238, is not 2 lakh hectare, but it is 25.88 lakh hectare. That is total. If you see the country, then 53% of the total area of the country is covered by that single variety CO0238. And in subtropical India, it covers 79.2% of the total sugarcane area. It's 5 major states of subtropical India, so that is one correction. As you know, that sugarcane is being cultivated in about 5 million hectare area in the country. And during 2018-19, the total sugarcane production was 400 million tons. And on an average, about 12 to 20% of the sugar biomass is fodder. That is top and trash. So that is a huge quantity. And nobody is considered that sugarcane as a fodder crop or forage crop. But the quantity, if you see on during 1819, the total quantity of fodder produced
Hello, sir.
clones.
Can you please unmute? Yeah.
May I continue? Am I
Sure, sir.
audible?
Sure, sir. Please. Yeah, you are.
So
Yes, sir.
sugarcane is having about 31% of the total dry matter. Crude protein is around 5.7%. Fat is around 3%. Total S is 7.85%. Silica 3.5%, and crude fiber 25%. Out of that, NDF is 66.6%. So this is about the total quality of sugarcane tops. That is average of some 24 sugarcane clones which we have tested. So but it is not good. Means it cannot be sufficient for as a fodder quality or for fodder intake for the animals. And our conclusion was that we have to replace with about 24%, 40% as concentrate. Then only total requirement of the animal can be met. So sugarcane top alone cannot meet the total requirement of the animals for growth. So it has to be supplemented with concentrates. And the beauty of the sugarcane crop is that it can be crossed with so many other species, related species. For other crops, it is very difficult to make in.
Hello, sir, you are not audible. Hello, sir, you are not audible.
Sugarcane.
Ma'am, you are audible. Ma'am, you are audible.
So, we are concentrating now. Part of that, because our main objective is to breed sugarcane varieties. But apart from that, we are having some fodder objective also to breed sugarcane clones or varieties. And we have crossed with some of the interspecific, wild spontaneous, Saccharum spontaneum, even Erianthus species also we have crossed with sugarcane. And maize hybrids are also there, maize, sorghum, bajra, all these forage fodder crops hybrids are available with sugarcane. And we have initiated recently one program with IGFRI Jhansi. So more than 20 clones have been supplied to IGFRI Jhansi for testing their fodder quality and suitability of different clones. This includes all interspecific hybrids, intergeneric hybrids, as well as the commercial hybrids of sugarcane. These clones are now being multiplied at IGFRI Jhansi. So we are interested in multi-cut, and that too particularly in the subtropical India, if see the temperate region, subtropical or temperate region, during summer months, we find something suitable which gives 2-3 cuts during summer months, say May, June, April, May, June. That time, as well as during severe winter months also, say the November to February, if some
I think sir is having some network issue.
He is not audible.
I think it is.
And our major objective is to breed sugarcane varieties throughout the country. As on during current year, not current year, last year, during 2019-20, the area covered by our varieties was 77%. So that is the contribution of ICAR SBI. 77% of the total sugarcane area is covered by the varieties developed by institute alone. And if we include, because we are in a collaborative program, we are helping 24 sugarcane research stations throughout the country. And if we include those also, then more than 99% of the total sugarcane area is covered by either by the variety developed by institute alone or in collaboration with the 24 other sugarcane research stations. And our single two varieties are major at present. Both are from SBI, 0238 in North India, covering 79% area, and CO86 032 in the tropical India, having 47% of the total area in the tropical India, starting from Madhya Pradesh to Kerala. So, although we are releasing many varieties, on an average, we are releasing some 4 varieties in subtropical India and 3 varieties in tropical India. But major area, that is more than 60% is covered by these 2 varieties alone. So, I thank the organizers for giving me these opportunities to share some of the facts about fodder quality and fodder quantity of from sugarcane. And I wish all the best, great success to this national training program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your sharing valuable thoughts with us. And thank you very much, sir, and hope to listen you again in future. Now let us have the pleasure of listening to the remarks of the Honorable Director of India's premier leading institute in fodder crops, Dr. Vijay Kumar Yadav, sir, Director, ICAR Indian Grassland and Fodder Research Institute, Jhansi. I'm giving his brief introduction. Born in 1970 in Uttarakhand, Dr. V.K. Yadav started his scientific career from Sher-e Kashmir University of Agriculture, Science and Technology, Kashmir, presently looking after Indian Grassland Fodder Research Institute as Acting Director and Head Seed Technology Division. He has emerged as an outstanding scientist in forage breeding. He has a number of publications in international and national journals. He is also the president of the Prestige Society, Range Management Society of India. Sir, please, I invite you to address our participants.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yes.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. Most respected Professor Nazir Ahmed, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sher-e Kashmir University, Kashmir. Respected Dr. Bakshi Ramji, Director, Sugarcane Breeding Institute. Dr. Deshveer Singh ji, Director, Central Institute for Temperate Horticulture. Dr. Malik Muhammad, Advisor, Plant Protection to Government of Sudan. our colleagues from regional station Srinagar, Mr. Majid Nisar from National Agriculture Development Cooperative Limited, Baramulla, Dr. Ratna Nasim, Professor and Dean, College of Agriculture and Research Station, Narayanpur, all respected dignitaries who are the part of this inaugural program, all the participants of this virtual training program. I thank to all of you for joining this inaugural session and giving your valuable guidance for the conduct of this training program. As such, this training program is concerned, if you go by the title, the advances in fodder production, utilization, conservation for improving livestock health, productivity, and environmental sustainability. So, as such, the title and the content of the training program is concerned, that is very wide and cover all possible areas related to the fodder production, conservation, utilization, and even their ecological relevance. So I hope that all the participants who are going to be part of this virtual training program, they are going to be benefited. And through this training program, I think our regional station Srinagar is trying to first time to organize this training program in collaboration with the National Agriculture Development Cooperatives. This is their first such kind of the effort. I congratulate to our scientist in charge, Dr. Suhail Ahmad and his team from Regional Station Srinagar for taking such initiatives, and as well as the NADCL for showing their interest in the forages. Sir, we have seen and we have been the part of many discussion in the past where the fodder has been elaborated in the length and breadth. But unfortunately, when this comes to the planning and policy, the fodder always get the lowest strata in their planning and the execution of the programs. But this kind of the opportunity and the initiative taken by our station and the NADCL, I hope that at least we can enhance the skill and we can generate the knowledge level, we can enhance the knowledge level about the forages improvement and utilization, and that is the utmost required. Because there are many people who talk about the forages, but when it comes to the knowledge and the exact the planning and other things, the serious thought is not given so far. But I hope that through this training program, this kind of the effort, we are going to have the trained person who can help us in the implementation of the training program, the different forages program. And I hope that this is also going to be a opportunity for the many people who are sitting far away from the different places due to the COVID-19. They can join and they can enrich their own self by the content of the training program. I have seen the schedule of the training program, and I can assure that this is one of the best training program as such is concerned, where we have almost all possible expert in the forages has been delivering a lecture. So I request to all the participants to be interactive and ask your doubts and other things where you have anything about this about the forages and other things. My previous speakers, Dr. Bakshi Ramji and Dr. Desveer Singh Ji, has narrated in details about the importance of the forages, and I'm really happy to that, as you know, that the Dr. Bakshi Ramji has himself is called as the cane man of the country, and as rightly pointed out that each breed varieties CO238 is one of the revolutionized the cane production in the country. So thus such kind of the revolution we also require in the fodder, and the material, as he has pointed out, that material bred by the SBI Contour, and we have taken those material and we are in the process of evaluating those material for the quality and other production aspects. Sir, Dr. Desveer Singh ji in his address has pointed out the possibility of the newer areas where we can enhance and extend the fodder cultivation. Sir, you have actually pointed out that the silvipasture, hortipasture system, where our institute is giving due emphasis, the area where we can include the forage crop for enhancing the fodder production, and our technologies which has been developed through our headquarter or our regional station, they are having the potential to be utilized in such areas, and we can increase even like in Jammu Kashmir, if we even go for the 50% acreage of the fruit orchard under the fodder production, we can fulfill the demand of the fodder of the whole of the Union territories of the Jammu and Kashmir. And similarly to the different states where the fruit is one of the important component, we can increase the areas in those orchards. And the experiment we have conducted at Jhansi, or the even Srinagar and the Dharwad station, it has been found that the growing of the fodder under the horticulture crops increase the fruit production, as well as you will get the additional crop of the forages. So this is the best crop to grow in those conditions in the in those fruit orchards, even the silvipasture or hortipasture system. As we all aware that the forage cultivation is as of current being taken less than about 4% area of total cultivable land of the country, where need to be increased up to the 10%. But we see very remote possibility of such expansion in the near future. But the possibility exists that the where we can, we have been listening that the about 25 to 30% deficit exists in the in large in all over the country where we talk about the green fodder. We have to look for the possibility for what are the possibility where we can have interventions. And in this context, if you can see that the fodder production from the arable land, and we have been targeting, we have about more than 350 varieties of these, more than 16 crop of the forages which are being cultivated in different part of the country. If you ask me that any variety, any part of the country, we have variety, improved varieties. And if you ask from the 2017 to 2020, we have released more than 955 varieties of different forages. That means there are the very good varieties are available, which can be cultivated in area specific or niche specific areas, and we can increase the fodder production. And but same way that if you talk about the fodder production technologies, yes, we have developed technologies under the AICRP forage crop, which are available for the every areas. So we have a scope to increase the vertical yield of the that, as we know that the expansion of areas as in cultivable areas is in the land, it may not be possible, but we can increase by deploying those varieties for the fodder production. The alternative for this is exists in the fodder production from the non-arable land, and we have been mainly targeting on these areas. Maybe your mines or the wastelands or anywhere where you cannot grow other crops, the forages can be grown in those areas, and the technology are available. In the recent past, we have developed many technology which can be deployed in those areas with our partner, agri partners, and those can be go for those mines or the some other the wastelands, and the technologies which we have generated, they can not only use for the eco restoration of those areas, but they can be a viable source of the fodder too. So I request that all the participants in that area, we have to think and we have to plan for this, that the utilizing those areas, wastelands or the other areas for the fodder production. Then alternative use of the land resources is equally important. We have seen that the silvipasture, other models have already talked, and we have to think that how we can use those resources for the enhancing the fodder production. Then, sir, that the newer fodder resources in recent time, like we have been talking about the azolla, we have talked about the hydroponics and many others who have came into picture. Those can be also be used for the as a supplemental tool for the fodder production. And however, the fodder conservation, beside the fodder production, the fodder conservation have the equal importance. and IGFRI has developed many technologies for the fodder conservation, silage making, hay making, baling, the feed pellets, feed blocks, TMR. All the technologies exist with our institutes, and that can be transferred to the those people, and not only for the making the countries a fodder plus nation, but for the generating the new employment opportunity. These are technologies are equally important. If you see that there are only few enterprises or entrepreneurs who are going in this area, we can train our people to have a new entrepreneurship in this area for the feed pellet production or the feed block production or TMR or the some other kind of the even the area specific mineral mixture. All those have a potential, and those can be used as a tool for the generating the new employment opportunities for our people in different part of the country. Sir, we have, as in the beginning, I submitted that the many people talk about the forages, but when it comes to the forage, the policy interventions is required. We have around 10.5 million hectare area under the grasslands or the pasture lands or the grazing lands in the country, but unfortunately till now we don't have any policy for this important land, and this kind of the interventions required at national level from the government, that we have to develop a grassland policy or the policy for the grassland authority, national grassland authority. Such kind of the some body is required who can manage this valuable land resource which is available across the country. And sir, if you look for the program which are going on in the all over the country, if you see that the we have at 2019 census, we have around 535 million heads of livestock. If you compare with the 2011 census, about 5% increase in the livestock population in the country, and there is no, remember, there is no increase in the land under the forages. In spite of these all arts, the technology which we have generated, they have been able to make this country's #1 in the milk production. And we are almost, if you see that the 10 years back, the fodder, the deficit was around 35-40%, which has been reduced up to 25 to 30%. That means the technology which we generated has been found a place on the farmer field, and that has been given a results, and we have been able to reduce the fodder deficit in the all over the country. At recent time, IGFRI has taken many steps to speed up the technology which we have generated. We have been going to each state. We have conducted so far 12 such workshops with the different states, and we are in the process of developing the state specific fodder plan. For the Jammu Kashmir Union Territory also, we have conducted such meeting under the under the chairmanship of Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Nazir Ahmad Sahab in past. And now we have almost finalized the fodder plan for the Jammu and Kashmir, and which we are going to release very soon. Similarly, for the Himachal Pradesh and other hill states also, Uttarakhand, we have already prepared the fodder plan, and which are in the process of the updating or the revision, and then we are going to modification, such modification which we have received the suggestion, and we are going to have such kind of the our effort is to make the such kind of the fodder plan for the every states and the union territory of the country. Through this plan, we are trying to provide the technology which can be implemented at the district level or the taluka level. If you are sitting in the Baramulla or the Srinagar or any part, if you ask me that what fodder we can grow, we can provide a ready-made solution that this is the fodder plan for your state. You can go for a state a specific fodder plan, or you can see that this is the district, what variety, what other beside the cultivated fodder, what are the other opportunities for the horticulture or silviculture. All those information is going to be contained in such, and even though we are going to have such some project also where you can implement such project in our state. So this is the new initiative we have taken recent past with the collaboration with the state government. We are going to state government, we are discussing with them, modifying our plan, including their concern in the plan, and IGFRI has also taken a step to strengthen the Gausalas. And we know that there are more than 5,000 Gausalas in the country, and recently we have launched a program to train those Gausalas where we can have opportunity for the fodder production. So these are the some new initiatives which we have taken in last 1 year. Our scientists have also working hard. They have submitted about 48 research projects in last 1 year, and we are trying to have the collaboration with the many partners. Recent past, we have signed the MOU with the 8 states, our 8 states and the some agencies, where we are going to have the fodder production technology disseminated to those agencies with the help of our regional station and from the headquarters. So these are the few of the things which we have taken in recent parts, but there are challenges which need to be taken out. And the most important challenge, the fodder production, is the seed production. Availability of the quality seed is one of the, and planting material is one of the major challenge which we are facing. If you ask me that how we can do that, through the participation of the different agencies, including the forest department and the central government agencies, the state government agencies, cooperatives, all those can join hands in this endeavors, where we can have the enhance the seed production in the forages. Like in the grasses, if you see that there are very limited seeds are available, and then we can go for the seed hubs and other opportunities which exist. But such kind of the schemes are still need to be launched in the forage crops. And sir, the low priority for the fodder need to be rethinked, because the COVID-19 has given many lessons, and this is the one of the lesson too, that the farmer who are having the livestock, they are going to affect it least. Although there was some time where the due to the COVID-19 attack, the livestock production was also affected, but as compared to crop and other enterprises, they have been affected least. And even though what we have discussed with the NDDB and other agencies, there have been very least effect on the milk supply and the milk distribution chain, except for the varying first phase of the lockdown, where there was some effect on those. That means if you want to ensure the farmer income, even during the troubled age or time of uncertainties, you cannot ignore the livestock. And even you can see the contribution of livestock in our country's GDP is increasing each day. So I hope that this kind of the training program will be really helpful to generate the enhance the knowledge level. And although I'm in the opinion that this kind of the training program need to be organized at regional level, because once you are covering the whole of the state, might be some information which going to be presented by some speaker may not be useful for the each and every participants. But if we can organize such kind of training program as climatic zones or for a specific situation, I hope that would be more useful. However, this is a good effort has been made by our colleagues from the Srinagar Center and in collaboration with the NADCL. I really thankful to the all who are helped our station to organize this training program, and I hope that through this 21 days training, we are going to have new not only increase the knowledge level of our participants, but have some new ambassador who can transfer our technology into newer areas. So thank you for being with us. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your sharing your valuable and influential words to the participants. I thank you once again, sir. Now, I consider it a great honor to invite Dr. Nazir Ahmed, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sher-e-Kashmir University, Agriculture Technology, Kashmir, for his valuable presidential address to the gathering. His brief introduction: a well-renowned horticulturist, Professor Nazir Ahmed has served Sher-e-Kashmir University of Agriculture Sciences and Technology earlier for 22 years in a various capacity. He was director CITH for 8 years. He did his master's and doctoral degree from Punjab University, Ludhiana. With his vast experience, research experience spanning three decades, many of his work have been published in several international and national peer-reviewed journals. He has several awards in his credit. Fellow Horticultural Society of India conferred during year 2007-8 by Horticultural Society of India, New Delhi. Fellow Indian Society of Vegetable Science conferred in 2006. Vijayashree Award conferred in the year 2005 by India International Friendship Society, New Delhi. Sir, I invite you to address our participants at this occasion.
Thank you, Dr. Ratnaji. So, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are.
Thank you very much. My colleague from ICR, Dr. Bakshi Ramji, the cane man of India. My another colleague, Dr. Deshbir, Director. And again, my young colleague, Dr. Vijay Kumar Yadav, the Director, IGFRI. So, in fact, I had an opportunity, and in fact, Dr. Yadav, Dr. Desh, all worked with me so in one or the other capacities. So, we know each other. Dr. Bakshiram, and of course, we were colleagues even in the ICR Institute. And it is a great occasion, and thanks to IGFRI and also IGFRI regional station for inviting me to this inaugural session to be part in this very important program. At the outset, I am really grateful, and I congratulate Dr. Sohail and his director, IGFRI, Dr. Yadav, for initiating this very important 21 days national training program covering all aspects of fodder. The topic is so attractive. So advances in fodder production, utilization and conservation for improving livestock health, productivity and environmental sustainability. I think it covers each and every aspect. If somebody really, those participants who are attending this very important training program will get almost every bit of information in this 21 days period. Thanks to again COVID-19, it has given an opportunity. If it is a 21 days program, it is a summer school, winter school. Generally, we do under ICR sponsored programs where we take only 25 participants. I am seeing here more than 200 participants are attending this important program. This is the one opportunity that has provided. The COVID-19 has transformed us in such a way, sitting at different places. Not only it has saved so much of the money, we could have been
Sir, you have accidentally muted yourself. Can you unmute yourself, sir? Sir, you have accidentally muted yourself. Please unmute yourself so that we can hear your valuable words. There's a button at the bottom.
okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So that's what, of course, we got a good opportunity under this transformation in the digital this thing. So everybody from every India attending this very important program. And my colleagues, Dr. Deshbir, Dr. Bakshi Ramji, and Dr. Vijay Kumar, they have already pointed out various importance of the livestock, importance of the fodder, how to augment the fodder production, and the fodder plan, everything they have indicated. But what I want to again here emphasize is, so far, food was the major issue for us. Everybody is now concentrating on meeting the food security issues. Of course, now we are self-sufficient. Now we are the exporting nations, no doubt in that. Now I think we have to become now feed and fodder security also now has become very important, because the livestock, they have become an important, because they are playing important role in our economy of, particularly when agriculture economy is concerned. I think livestock contribution is much more than any other crops. So definitely they are impacting on our economy. So when livestock comes, then naturally the requirement for livestock is the nutritious feed and the fodder. So we have already now lot of things we have talked about. Only thing is now we have to see the already Dr. Yadav has told, and around 350 varieties of fodder varieties are already available in different crops. But of course, there are annual crops, there are perennial crops, and that diversity already exists. But what I look is within that diversity, kindly see to it the nutritious fodder. Nutritious fodder. It's not just the production productivity we have looked into. When we are feeding to the animal, just like feeding to the human population, we look for the quality. So here also we have to look for the quality fodder, which can be palatable and nutritious in terms of providing all the required the energy, the proteins, the vitamins, the minerals which is required for us. So that is one thing that is very important. And I was hearing, so near about 25% still deficit of fodder is there. If 25% deficit fodder is there, so how to augment that 25% deficit? So I think Dr. Yadav was telling there is a possibility of increasing area. But of course, for increasing area, I think we have issues. We may not have that much area, 4% to 10% area, we may not. But we have some of the wastelands, some uncultivable lands, and also our Dr. Deshmukh was pointing out about the horticulture. Earlier also I was telling silvopasture systems. So how best we can utilize those spaces for augmenting our fodder production, additional fodder production, that is very important. The tree fodders, they have become now more important. My forestry people, one of my colleague, Dr. Akhlaq, is also attending to it. There are a number of tree species, particularly if you think of temperate, cold arid region. In cold arid region, I think our the tree species, they are playing a role in augmenting to our fodder requirement. So there, I think we have to work out whatever the fodder which is available from the tree species. We have to identify more in addition to what exists, and whatever the raw material which is available. The another important we have in the lakes here, 1/3 of area is covered with the lakes in the Kashmir Valley. We have a lot of the hydrophytes, and lot of weeds are now they are taking out, and those weeds, just like Azolla, just they pointed out, and there are other weeds also. How best we can utilize those weeds? Can we fortify? Can we silage it? And how best we can convert into a good fodder? So that is one area, I think, where plenty of weeds are available. Thousands of tons of weeds are available. I think here, I think Dr. Yadav, you are hearing it, and Dr. Sohail and all who are working, kindly see to it how best we can utilize these aquatic weeds meeting our fodder requirement by fortification and value addition. How best we can utilize, that is another thing. And the another important aspect is everybody, whenever we ask, whenever farmers they come, and particularly the livestock owners and even the department people. They are asking for the seeds, fodder seeds. We don't have a seed production program, just like in, say, cereal crops or in vegetables and so on. I don't know, seed cost is also seems to be very, very high in fodder crops. But I think we need to have a full-fledged plan, seed production plan for meeting the seed requirement, and not only the production and the distribution. And just like seed village concept, what we have in a cereal crop, what type of item can we have? This time we had a requisition from the animal husbandry department, so hundreds of quintals of seeds, but we are not able to make even the, I think, just 90 quintal seeds. We were able to supply. So this is what, unless we produce good quality seed and provide to the farmers, so this will be, otherwise the fodder production will not, the required quantity will be able to achieve. The another, again, in addition to that, well, but the production technology, the package of practices for our fodder crops, maybe for few important fodder crops we may be having, but for most of the crops, what I feel, even in our university, for whatever the fodder crops which are available, we don't have a well developed package of practices. I think that is another area, because temperate, at least for temperate fodder crops, we have to develop package of practices. Package of practice includes everything, even from sowing to harvest, whatever the requirement is there. We are not bothered about the insect pests. I think somebody pointed out about that. Insect pest disease management. So because they are harboring as an alternate host also for our major crops. Not only that, but they themselves also, they get attacked by insect and pest diseases. Management of insect pest and disease, if you really want to provide a good quality fodder, I think that is also one of the area where we have to look into their management, the improvement. Already, of course, very good improvement is going on, and more than 350 varieties are released. So definitely, those might improved varieties. Just like in goat variety, we have given more than a half a dozen varieties in the state, and some of them are released at national level. Even in maize also, the fodder maize and all, we are producing it. Of course, only thing is now, in addition to the improvement program, so then we have to look into those, whatever the improved varieties are there, simultaneously also see their quality aspects, nutritional quality that I was pointing. And then standardization of package of practices. But I could see the lectures in 21 days. I think a lot of lectures are being covered. I think a good information is being generated, and you are providing very good information to the participants. So value addition of fodder. This is another area. And the value of, now the value of fodder is much more than grain. What we are seeing in this part of the country, particularly in, say, cold arid region, even in Kashmir and all, the fodder is sold at a higher rate than the grain. This may be looking, I think, maybe a surprise to you all, but we are selling, we are realizing around 15 to 20,000 rupees per canal by selling fodder. That means in 20 canals of land, we are getting around a minimum of around, say, 3 lakh rupees from just fodder raising. But you cannot earn from the production of, say, just paddy crop, the grains. So this is the value of the fodder which we are getting, because that has become so important. It is much more than grain. And then we have a lot of even dry fodder also. So the paddy, and it is all paddy straw burning and all in the northern areas. But there is a lot of, I think, thousands of tons of, I think, paddy straw is burnt. So can we make use of that paddy straw? Wheat straw, of course, we are making use of it. And pulses straw, even the pulse residues from which is coming out. And all those things, how best we can fortify it. And then can we make those fodder blocks and all? So one of the main issue in fodder is the transportation. So if you can make a blocks and then transport it, so that will, I think, ease out along with some fortification. And the silage of whatever all the fodder, different fodder crops are there. Can we make silage of those fodder crops? So all those things we have to look into. And earlier also, when the workshop was there for the state-specific plan or the region-specific plan, there also I was pointing out the development of pastures, because the pastures are contributing a lot here as a fodder resources to our livestock, particularly the sheep and goat, even for the milk cattle and all. So how to say develop, how to make use of those pastures, how to sustain those pastures for the future. Because lot of problems are there in those pastures. There is a degradation, there is a weed problem, there is infestations, and all such problems are also there in the pastures. I think earlier also I was pointing out, so we have to look into the reseeding of those pastures, weed management, and then we must have a short-term and long-term strategy for improving those and sustaining those fodder for the future. If you really want, particularly in this part, temperate region and Himalayan hills, but a lot of grazing area is there, pasture lands are there. I think that is also one specific area. If you want to augment fodder in this part of the country. So anyway, but I think it is a time, I think it was up to only 1 p.m. But my lot of colleagues have told already many things about it. And the importance of sugarcane already, Dr. Bakshi Ramji, he has pointed out. So I think a lot of biomass is available. If you can, along with the concentrate, can be one important substitute also. And some new clones they have supplied. Those new clones, they can be tested. Dr. Yadav, if it is possible, if they can suit to our region also. Some of the clones, you can send it and we can put in our Manasbal research station also, and also at your regional research station, we can evaluate those. If something suits well, that can also be multiplied for the benefit of our own people here. So I don't want to take much time. I think a lot of things have already been told by my other colleagues, and a lot of lectures and presentations will be there from the learned resource persons. So, but this is already I am looking, and more than around said more than 200 people are attending such an important training program. So they will get an opportunity to learn about the advances in fodder production, utilization, and conservation. And with these, whatever the information they get from this training program, they can, if there are say research scholars, scientists, they can check out their plan for their respective areas. And if some, I mean, farmers, if there are any progressive farmers or any people, if they are attending, so some useful things for their production related aspect, management related aspect, if they are available, so value addition aspect, so that will be useful for them also. I think in this type of training, we should invite some progressive farmers or leading farmers in this type of areas, livestock production, the farmers who are involved in the dairy or rearing of sheep goat and other things. They should also be sometimes, some people should also be invited along with not only our students, scholars and scientists, but I think some such type of industry people, they can get benefit. So I don't want to take much time, and thanks to Yadav and his whole team of scientists who are conducting this program, and all the resource persons, I think, and the persons who are involved in this arranging this very important training program. It may be Dr. Malik Muhammad and Dr. Sohail, Dr. Ratnaji, and all other colleagues. So thank you very much, and wish you all the best for this 21 days. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable and influential thoughts and blessings. We will keep in mind the suggestions you have given to us, and in future we will try to implement it. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now,
Ratna ma'am, please unmute yourself. Ratna ma'am, please unmute yourself. Ratna ma'am, please unmute yourself.
yeah. Dr. Malik Mohammed, sir, please. Majid sir, please help me for inviting Malik Mohammed sir.
Just a second, ma'am. He's with us now. Dr. Malik Mohammed, please unmute yourself, sir. Yeah, now it's unmute. Yeah. Hello, can you try to speak something to hear you? Hello?
Okay, sir. Hello,
Okay, you are audible, sir. You are audible. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. Good day to all of you. As all we know, behind any successful program, there lay a manifold, and our manifold are ICR Indian Grasslands and Federal Research Institute and National Agricultural Development Cooperative, NADCL, Baramulla. I thank them for organizing this 21 days national training program in this time of pandemic. And I extend my sincere thanks to our respected organizing director, Dr. Retina Nasim, Professor and Dean of College of Agriculture and Research Station. And my sincere thanks also to our course director, Dr. Soshil Ahmad, scientist and officer in charge, ICR, Srinagar, for his brief highlighting our lecture line, for our upcoming lecture line, and our warm thanks to our guest of honor for being here with us. It is a pleasure and sharing their flowers, their lovely addressing flowers, and we hope to see them soon again. Professor Dr. Vijay Kumar Yadav, Honorable Director, ICR Indian Grass Plant and Further Research Institute, Jhansi, and Professor Bakshi Ram, Director, ICAR Sugarcane Breeding Institute, Tamil Nadu. Professor Dr. Sanjay Kumar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, IGKV, Indira Gandhi University. And let me take the privilege of thanking our chief guest, Professor Nizar Ahmed, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kashmir University, Srinagar, for his great presentation address. And finally, before I end, I thank our gregarious speaker and our exceptional participant, and we promise ma'am, Dr. Ratina, as our first program was successful. Again, this program will be successful too. Thank you so much. Dhanyavad. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now there is one announcement for the participants that there will be a lunch break, and for lunch break, and the next session will be start at 2:30 p.m. The first speaker is Dr. Vijay Kumar Yadav, Director, ICAR, Indian Grassland and Fodder Research Institute. He will speak on ICAR IGFRI, a premier institute of forage production, utilization and conservation. Thank you, participants. Until then, I'm signing out and will meet you at 2:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, madam.
Ji.
Madam, evening after same
Yes.
link, or will you send another link?
Yeah, I will share another link also. Okay.
We'll share another link.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Okay, that will be
respected.
shared in the group. That will be shared in the group at 2:30 p.m. So you please join with that share link. Okay?
Okay, thank you, madam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to all respected guests. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Now we can join in the afternoon session. We can all leave this session and we can join later on. Thank you. Link will be shared on the WhatsApp group. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Okay.